Nervous?
Extremely.
Why?
I don't talk about it very much.
When I rolled up to the residence, I saw somebody had their spotlight on the house, and he had a pistol drawn. That person was later identified as Scott Sunford. And I asked him what was going on. Why didn't you go in? He said, I don't know what's in there, which is a very odd answer to give. I entered the house, and I remember walking down the hallway to the left. I could see the body of Desiree Sunford. Whoever shot her wanted her dead.
This video features an interview with a man who was suspected of murdering his wife, allegedly to be with their mutual lover. Desiree Sunford, a 30-year-old art teacher, lived with her husband, Scott, in Yakima, Washington. Their nearly decade-long marriage appeared strong, even after enduring Scott's military deployment. Visibly, they presented as a content and committed couple. However, unbeknownst to many, another person was involved, Paige Blade, with whom both Scott and Desiree were romantically involved. This unusual arrangement seemed to function smoothly until Desiree expressed her desire to end it. On April 7, 2013, Scott Sunford, returning from a business trip, contacted the police, expressing concern as his wife was unresponsive to calls. Compounding his anxiety was a recent break-in at their home, fueling fears of a potential intruder's return. Upon arriving, officers were met by Scott, armed and hesitant to enter the house. Inside, initial observations were unremarkable until they reached the bedroom, where they discovered Desiree's lifeless body. She had sustained 9 gunshot wounds, evident by her attempts to flee. Amidst the grim scene, the only physical clue was a single shoe print left by the perpetrator.
Sheriff's Office.
Hi, ma'am. This is Scott Sunford. I was robbed last weekend. I live at 320 North St. Hilaire. Anyways, after the robbery, I had an ADT alarm system installed, and they put it on a 1-week trial period where if anything went off, nobody would respond. And today at 324, 327, and 328, I had 3 sensors tripped, and I've been out of town with family for a funeral. My wife was home, and I
did somebody break into the residence?
I don't know. I've been out of town. I'm just on my way back, and I haven't been able to get a hold of the wife, so I was just hoping somebody can come meet me out there. It's probably nothing, but I would feel better.
Okay. Hold on. Sheriff's Office.
Hi, ma'am. I just called a little while ago about the concern at my house with the robbery.
What address would that be?
320 North St. Hilaire.
Okay.
I just got home, and the board that I have over my back door has been broken. So somebody has forced their way in again, and I still haven't heard back from my wife. I need an officer here now.
What do you mean you haven't heard back from your wife?
I've been trying to get a hold of my wife since shortly after I left the Tri-Cities to head back home. She didn't come with me out of town. I had a family funeral to go to, and she stayed home, and I have not heard from her.
She stayed home at this address?
Yes.
Okay.
So she's been at the house all day, and she hasn't gotten a hold of me.
Okay. Have you checked with... Okay, I understand what you're saying. Have you checked with friends and family to see if anyone's heard from her today?
No, not yet, ma'am. I just want an officer to get out here real quick and check this house and see what's going on.
I understand that, but so no, you haven't checked with friends or family to see if anybody else has had contact with her?
No, I was with my whole side of the family.
Okay.
I haven't called her mom. That's it.
Okay. And what's your wife's name?
Desiree Sunford.
Yeah, the security stuff I got on here.
Okay. Like I told you, my name's Sam Pearl. I'm a detective here at the Sheriff's Office. Need to let you know that we're being recorded here, audio and video in this room. There's a camera up in the corner there. I want to just read a little introduction here so that the people watching the tape later know what we're talking about. Following in statement concerns a shooting that happened on or about April 7th, 2013 at 320 North St. Hilaire Road, Yakima County Sheriff's Department. Case number is 13C04701. Today's date is, I think it's still the 7th. Nope, it's April 8, 2013 now. The time is 002 hours. Location is Yakima County Sheriff's Office in Yakima. Present during the statement are myself, Detective Sam Peralt, and Scott Sunford. What's your full name?
Scott Ingvald Johan Sunford.
Okay.
It's Norwegian.
Okay. What's your address?
320 North St. Hilaire.
Okay. And what's your age and date of birth?
31, July 19th of 81.
Okay. Do you understand that we're being recorded right now?
Yes,
Do I have your permission to keep recording?
absolutely.
Okay. What's your cell phone number?
509-855-3609.
Okay. And who's your carrier?
AT&T.
AT&T. No, you said you had iPhones.
Yeah.
And let's see. Since we're here at the sheriff's office, I'm gonna read this to you. I don't expect you've probably ever been in trouble, but I'm sure you've seen this on TV.
What's that?
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in a court of law. You have the right at this time to talk to a lawyer and have him present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before question if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Okay? Do you understand each of these rights as I explain them to you?
Yes.
Okay.
There's one thing that does confuse me, though.
What's that?
Generally, if you read somebody their Miranda rights, that implies that they're under arrest.
No, not always. It just means that we're conducting our investigation. I can tell you, you're not under arrest right now. Okay? But we are here at the sheriff's office, and we're being recorded. So, as a matter of protocol, when we're conducting our investigations, we do read people their Miranda warnings, okay?
Oh, okay, that makes sense, because at least this way you have it on record that I'm receiving my Miranda rights. In case there is an arrest later on, you can't say I wasn't read my rights and get released.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so you understand what's
Yeah.
going on, and having those rights in mind, are you willing to keep talking to me now about what happened out at your house?
Of course.
Sunford appears remarkably composed, displaying minimal concern for a man worried about his wife's well-being. His apparent lack of inquiry about her condition raises significant red flags for the detective, indicating a potential lack of genuine concern or emotional investment in her safety.
Much as I can. I mean, I can't help you too much. I wasn't there, but...
Okay, well, I wasn't either, and I just got here literally a few minutes ago. So can you just kind of start from the beginning and tell me what happened?
Well, quite honestly,
What
you just
is your
informed me
understanding?
of something else. There was a shooting.
Right.
Okay. What can you tell me?
All I know is that we were called out to your house and that there was a body found, and that it looks like the person had been shot. So that's where I'm asking you to jump in and help me fill in the blanks as far as what led us out there.
Okay. Sorry. All right. Let's see. You said today is now the, 8th?
It's the 8th now, yes.
Okay.
Just after midnight.
On the 6th at 10 in the morning was my Aunt Joy's funeral service in Pasco. They're kind of like at the city church. So that morning, I guess that'd be Saturday, I left the house at probably 8:30.
Okay.
And that was the last time I was there before the last time I was in my house. After I left there, I went down to the Tri-Cities. I went to the service, and from that point on, I was with my dad and grandpa, and I don't know, the service probably ran on until about 2 or so, maybe less. I called Des after the graveside portion and the luncheon portion. I was just kind of trying to get away from the old guys for a minute and get up and walk around. So I went outside and I gave her a call and sat there talking on the phone for a while. And I told her that my Aunt Mary and Frank were having a dinner out at their place at 6:30, so I was going to go out there.
Despite being informed of a shooting incident in his home, Sunford continues to show a striking lack of interest in his wife or any details surrounding the event. Instead, he strangely dives into long stories about his recent visit with family members, further raising suspicions about his priorities and potential involvement in the situation.
And I couldn't take it anymore. If I call and she doesn't get it, usually within 10-15 minutes she's picked up the phone and called me back, what's going on. So by this time it had already been like an hour of me trying to get a hold of her with nothing. And I took her car to the Tri-Cities and left mine because, the last weekend when we were out of town was when it became illegal to be running studs, and I still got my studs on the Charger. So it was like, don't need a ticket. And Crown Vic's full of gas, Charger's on E and has studs. Come on. And so she convinced me to take the cop car. So I took hers, and she said she didn't want to drive my car. She's like, I'm not even going to drive it. Don't even bother leaving me keys, whatever. Well, keys anyways. If you need it, take it. And so I wasn't expecting her to be gone. Really didn't think she'd go anywhere. And with the way the wind was, I knew she wasn't going to take the bike anywhere. She's kind of a picky rider. And so it was driving me nuts. And about the time I got on the Conolac Road-ish area, it was too much. I called. And the first gal I talked to, I told her, I'm probably just crazy, but I checked my phone a little while ago, and I got the alarm system was set to arm stay, meaning that she's at home. So that kind of implies that she was there, and the motion detector's turned off for the stay home, and the motion detector comes on for stay gone. Well, when it's home, the door switches still work.
Sunford repeatedly emphasizes his supposed concern, yet his actions contradict his words, as he justifies delaying seeking help multiple times. Given the alarming circumstances, his wife being unresponsive despite being home, coupled with a recent break-in, most people would have quickly contacted authorities. Sunford's reluctance to act swiftly, despite these red flags, only adds to the suspicion surrounding his involvement.
And it didn't, and that scared me. So I kind of stalled a little bit. I drove around waiting, just giving her that chance to call me, and giving the deputy a chance to get free and get over there. And I headed to the house, and I pulled down the driveway, and I went down the driveway to the left, and I fired up my spotlight, and I pointed it at the back door. I noticed my Charger's there, so she must be home. And I put the light up on the back door, and I noticed that the board that I had screwed up there from the previous break-in, the bottom quarter of the board had been broke off. And you could see the window was all messed up again. So immediately I got back on the phone with dispatch, and I told them, my house has been broken into again. My wife is not responding. She should be home, and she's not talking to me. I need somebody here now. And I stayed there. I kept waiting. I couldn't go in. I didn't know what the hell to do. So I backed the car up a ways and got on the phone. And I called my friend Brian that lives out in Glebe. He and I worked together. We deployed together. He's in a little motorcycle organization, man, Combat Veterans United. Do the fundraisers for all the veterans' families. And I called him up and asked him, hey, you awake? You dressed? Will you come over? I think I need you. And he said, yeah, I'm in my sweats. Give me about 45 minutes, I'll be there. So I couldn't go in there. So I just waited. And after a little while longer, it was driving me nuts again. So I got on the phone and I called up my dad. I told him, I don't know what the hell to do. Somebody's broke in. Des should be in there, and she's not answering me. And if she's...
In recounting the events leading up to the police's arrival, Sunford maintains a notable lack of emotion. Despite claiming he couldn't enter the house, he ironically remained outside with his gun at the ready. His narrative, already strange on its own, becomes even more suspicious when compared with his detached delivery, further casting doubt on the credibility of his account.
I can't walk in and see anything. If something's wrong in there, I can't see it. But at the same time, if somebody broke in when she was there and she got hurt or restrained, and I was sitting out in the car, sitting outside while she's scared, and I can't go in there to help her, that was going to drive me nuts. So I asked him, hey, what the heck can I do? And it's like, well, you got my 45 on you, right? Yeah. Go in there. So just as I was regaining myself, getting it back together, getting ready to do it, the deputy from Moxie pulled up alongside me. And God, it could not have been better timing. Because right then I was able to just say, hey, my alarm system's on. It's off. Here's my keys. Please. I can't do this. And I just waited there. And he walked around. And I stayed at my car. Had the spotlight on the back door still. Had the door open. Standing in the door, using it for cover. In case he spooks him out the rear. And had my weapon ready, but not drawn. And just stayed there waiting. And he circled the residence, and he went up from around the back side and all along the picture windows and across the back by the master bedroom and bath, around the fence, onto the patio and in the front door. And he came, it had been a little while. It seems like I should have seen lights coming on. I should have seen flashlights in the windows, something. And I got nothing. And I didn't hear anything either. So I walked around, and I wanted to see if the bikes were there too. Because, maybe she was bound and determined. She had to run down to the store for something.
She has her own bike that she rides?
Yeah, I got her one of the newer bike than mine. I got her a 2010 Sportster 883 iron. And welded up a little cargo rack for the back of it and everything so she could use it for school. And so I went into the garage real quick and I checked to make sure the bikes were there. Yeah, both bikes are there. My car's there, her car's here. I look over and there's the deputy standing out on the front patio looking like he's on the phone or on the radio or something. He had a device up to his head. And he saw me and immediately started walking over, and I didn't make it any more than about halfway to the gravel to him when he said, go wait over by the car. I'm coming with you. Let's go over there. I opened it. He said I opened the door and I called for Des, and
Sunford's ability to speak jokingly is inappropriate with the level of concern he shows for his wife's well-being. The substantial police presence at the scene should have provoked a realization that something was gravely amiss.
And when I was pulling into the house, I stopped up at the end of the driveway, right up there by the dumpster, about halfway to the house, and went around, popped the trunk, and quickly slapped it on before I came down. So I was ready to go. And so they took the gun and patted me down, and they pulled the Surefire flashlight out of my back pocket. I haven't seen that yet. And took whatever else they wanted and had me sit in the back of one of the cars. And one of the deputies told me that there was a deceased woman inside. And that was all he would say about it. He obviously, I mean, I understand he can't ID her, so they don't know her. So I was like, you know, about 30 years old, dark hair, heavy set. Yep. Okay. So I got back over to the police car. And, let me backtrack a little bit there as well. As soon as I got to the house and I had the spotlight on the door, before I even called Brian or my dad, after talking to the dispatcher, she'd asked, did you call any of her friends or families to see if she's with them, you know? So I got to thinking about it, and pretty much all of our friends are our friends. You know, we don't really have her friends, my friends kind of thing. Mm-hmm. We're couples, we're friends with couples, we're part of groups. It's kind of how we are. We're together. And the only thing I could think of was, no, I'm sorry. Evidently it's not on silent. Yeah. Oh, it's my dad, he must be here. So, where's that at? Oh, so I get on the phone and I call her mom, and I didn't want to scare her mom, get her worked up or anything. So I just asked her, you know, has Des talked to you today? I've been trying to get a hold of her and haven't gotten anything. No, hasn't talked to me at all. Okay, well, that's kind of strange. All right, well, that's all I wanted to know. And all she said was, okay, well, let me know when you get a hold of her. And that was the end of the mother-in-law contact. So I don't know if the deputy in Grant County's got a hold of her yet, but as of my last knowledge, she still didn't know anything.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Okay. And so anyways, back to where I was at, they put me in the cruiser, and you know, from then on it's just officer popping in and talking a little bit and stepping back out, and that was about all.
Okay. And when they described the female that they found inside, did that...
Sunford counts the weapons present in his home, each of which will undergo testing to determine if any were used in Desiree's murder. The fact that some of these weapons have been reported stolen adds another layer of complexity. If it is determined that the bullet matches a firearm similar to those in his possession, the timing of the thefts will undoubtedly raise suspicions regarding Sunford's involvement in the crime.
Let's see, I had another shotgun in 22, but that's at the mother-in-law's. The Colt that your officer has in his trunk. Oh, my baby. 1898 Springfield Arms 3040 Craig. It's actually a K.
You said that you tried to call Desiree on the way back from the Tri-Cities. When was the last time that you actually talked to her on the phone?
The last time I talked to her was at the funeral service.
On Saturday?
Yeah.
What time do you think that was?
I'll see if it's still stored in here.
You can just give me an approximate time for now. It'd be close enough. We can.
I'm just trying to give it to you as specific as I can. 9/11. Yesterday, 8:36. Let's see. I would be looking for Saturday. Here we go. Oh, evidently I talked to her. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was only a couple minutes. I guess the last communication I had with her was 6:29 p.m. for 7 minutes. And the phone call at the funeral, that's only 3 minutes. That's, oh, she called me back because it got messed up. No.
What's her phone number?
Dez's?
Yeah.
It's 519, of course. 750-0863.
Do you guys have a home phone, a landline?
No.
You just use the cell phones?
Just the cells.
And is her phone through AT&T as well?
Yeah, same account.
Okay. So you talked to her yesterday evening for about 7 minutes, and did she indicate that anything was wrong or everything seemed okay that
No,
time?
it was fine. I mean, obviously it's a short short phone call. It was only 7 minutes, but yeah, it was just a quick hi. Yeah, looks like I'm gonna stay. It's going kind of long. Love you. Talk to you soon. See you tomorrow. You know.
Then you stayed at your dad's in Kennewick?
No, I actually stayed with a friend, but let's see.
What's the friend's name?
Despite Sunford's casual demeanor regarding Blade, claiming she was a mutual friend, the reality is quite different. Sunford and Desiree were involved in an open marriage, and both had romantic relationships with Blade.
Okay, she's a 501 also.
501?
509, I mean, sorry. 431-2273.
How far is Warden from the Tri-Cities?
It's about an hour.
About an hour?
Yeah.
Each way?
It's damn near as long as coming here.
Okay.
But I had to go up there because of the guitars that I had in the trunk. She's a mutual friend of ours for a while. Oh, it's my dad. Or no, that's shit. That's the mother-in-law. At 10:30. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I got two of my friends now that I've gotten started into music. One of my friends, I got started on bass, and she used to play acoustics, and she was wanting to get back into it a little bit, and so after collecting the guitars up at my dad's house, had to go show her one I thought she'd like, so I got this little Kent. It's probably half as heavy as a normal guitar is. It's just a real slim body, narrow fretboard, quick action, just great beginner guitar.
So when did you drive to Warden?
Probably about 11.
11 o'clock.
Yeah, it was
last
late.
night? And what time do you think you arrived at Paige's house?
I'd say 12:30-ish. She had already went and laid down, so I had to go wake her butt up.
And then you said you got back to the Tri-Cities about 10 a.m. on Sunday for breakfast with your family?
Yeah, pretty close. I think it was about 8:45 I left there, so that would put me there about right. Because on the way to Warden, I did the, what is that? The Central Washington University Research Area / Warden turnoff by the Scootney Reservoir, out Booker Road.
I'm not very familiar with that area.
Yeah, well, I took that route to get to her house, and then on the way back, I came down 17, gassed up in Othello, and rolled out from there.
Did Desiree know that you were going to Page's?
I don't know, honestly.
It's not something you had discussed with her?
No. No, Paige would come stay with us. We'd stay with her.
Was it just a platonic friendship, or did you have a sexual relationship with Paige?
You know, I shouldn't go there because it's kind of rude, but well, Des didn't want me to say anything to anybody, but she kind of had mixed feelings. And if I'll do anything, but that's one thing I can't provide for her. So at one point, her and Paige had a little thing going for a while there, a little experiment.
Okay, so it was Desiree and Paige who had the sexual relationship?
Yeah.
But not you and Paige? Or sometimes,
we all did.
Sometimes you and Paige too?
Honestly, we all did.
Okay. So you don't think it would not have bothered Desiree to know that you were going to stay with Paige?
No, and honestly, we didn't even do anything. I was out on the couch anyways, because it's kind of one of those things where as long as we're going to do anything, we need to make sure we all are fine with doing anything. So
it's
everybody stays informed.
All right.
So if there's no information or no previous arrangements made, nothing happens. Avoid hard feelings.
So it sounds like you and Desiree had a pretty open relationship as long as the communication
Generally,
lines
no.
were... No?
Generally, no. Just with her.
Just with her. There was a special relationship with Paige?
Yeah.
How had you and Desiree been getting along lately?
Great.
No problems in the marriage?
No. Typical marriage things, you know, bickering and picking at each other for stupid little things.
Yeah. No big fights though?
No.
We're...
Kiss and hug and go to night happy, or go to bed at night happy, you know.
Okay. Let's go back to the military experience. You spent 13 years in the military?
Yeah.
What branch?
Army National Guard.
Okay.
Sunford might be using the open relationship excuse to explain his calm reaction to his wife's death.
Personally, I've just found that it works really good for me to stand back, to step back away from the problem and look at things from an outside perspective and kind of displace yourself. Mm-hmm. It makes it easier to handle things.
Yeah.
You get a little too close and too involved into it, and it starts to bug you. So, and I kept trying to just kind of stand off and shut up and regain myself and hold it together. It's still not real to me yet.
How long have you been out of the military?
Oh, I've only been out for I would say end of November, 1st of December,
So
right in there.
It was recent.
Yeah. Yep, I broke my left femur pretty bad, and I got some titanium in there. And I broke my back and broke my neck and I got 3 bad joints in this shoulder and 4 in this one. So I can't really do any heavy lifting or, working over my head too much. So they put me down as non-retainable and just let my enlistment run out. So I didn't get the boot or anything.
All of that was the result of your injuries and the explosions? All those broken bones and plates?
This one, that one was from Fort Knox. The rest of it was overseas. But, of course, without an actual... I get shot, there's a hole. There it is, it happens. The rest of it, but like when I broke my neck, I didn't even know I broke my neck. All I knew is I hit the top of the truck really hard, it hurt. I saw pretty lights and stars, and then I couldn't turn my head more than about that far each direction for a couple of months. And then I got a haircut, and one of the Iraqi barbers are doing the shoulder rub thing and popped my neck, and next thing I know, my head works fine again. So, great.
Wow.
And then after the fact, after I come back and they're doing x-rays. They're like, oh, look, you broke your neck about a year ago. Oh, middle of my deployment. Yeah, I know that one.
So what have you been doing since you got back? Or since you got released from the military in November?
Well, since that, nothing.
Nothing.
No.
Unemployed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Des and I were actually just looking at starting up a business.
What kind of business?
Well, I figured since I'm a mechanic and my entire military enlistment was as a recovery guy, driving M88 wreckers, that I'd be a tow truck driver.
That makes sense.
And like I told her, I don't want to get fired again.
Yeah.
So as long as I run the show, I can't get fired again. So yeah, we're actually just looking into the business license and the incorporation and all that to try to figure something out. And I was just talking to my dad. He's got a friend of his down in the Tri-Cities that used to be a tools distributor with him that started a towing company, I guess, about 8 years ago. And so I figured, well, been running it for 8 years. He's obviously doing something right. Maybe he's got a spare truck or two I can lease or buy off of him
Yeah.
and get it kicked into high gear off of that.
So was Desiree working?
Yeah, she was art teacher at the Wapato Middle School.
Oh, okay. How long has she been working there?
This is her second year.
How long have you two been married?
10 in November.
10.
The detective inquires about Sunford's relationship history with Desiree, noting their nearly decade-long marriage. Such a duration provides plenty of time for either a deep bond to develop, feelings of discontent, or a desire for change to emerge.
For instance, she had to buy a new car while I was gone. Well, with us being married and her having a power of attorney, it made things a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just kind of the thing that finally forced us to do it. Made us hurry up and get it done instead of beating around the bush, but yep. It was fun.
Yeah.
Just sucked having to take off right away afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But when I came back, combat pay built up in the bank. We took off. We went down to Oregon for like a week and a half, and horse rides down the beach, and ate at every place we could. And I showed her all my favorite places down there. Went and fed the sea lions together, and went through the little aquarium and petting the little sea anemones.
Yeah.
A good time.
Yeah. Sounds like it. Sounds like a great start to the marriage. You guys have Facebook accounts?
Yeah.
Is it under your names?
I
Or is
think
there-
hers is under her email, the Chevy Des one. She uses it a lot more than I do. The only thing I really do on there is just kind of log in and check on stuff that other people are posting. I'm not one of those guys that throws a bunch of pictures and comments up.
Yeah. Every time you
Yeah.
eat something, you have
Right.
to put a picture of it. Yeah.
Like, for instance, I got an alert earlier today when my dad tagged me in a timeline something or another, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for lunch at Carl's. Really? I used to get on her all the time because she'd go on there and she'd post something like, you know, getting ready to take off to Moses Lake to go visit my mom for the week. And I'm like, oh, no!
Come and burglarize our
Yeah,
house.
don't tell everybody we're gone. Quit it.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't make much sense.
So I got her broke of that habit about a year ago. She's been pretty good.
You said you have ADT on the house now,
Yeah.
and they monitor,
Yeah.
so that they know when the doors open and close and everything.
Right.
Okay. And you can disarm it and arm it from your phone.
Yeah.
Okay. And you stopped on Fauché Road.
Theoretically, it would have been sensible to check the security system before immediately calling the police. However, considering the system was installed precisely for situations like this, one would expect nervousness to outweigh the impulse to thoroughly evaluate the situation, making seeking immediate help the more likely course of action. The broken door serves as a convenient setup for Sunford's narrative. However, given the murder and its timing, it raises suspicions about whether the initial break-in actually occurred or if it was orchestrated specifically for this moment.
I haven't been out there, so just by what you're describing to me, this is what I'm picturing.
There you go.
You had your back door had like a window in it, and you had put a board over it because of a previous burglary that had happened.
The week prior, Saturday, between 2 and 4 is what we're suspecting.
Yeah, on April 2nd, there was a burglary out there.
I think April 2nd would have been the Tuesday when I reported it.
Okay, that's when it was reported.
Right.
April 2nd.
Yeah, what we were thinking was that the burglary happened Saturday between 2 and 4 p.m.
Okay.
And reason being, I went up the street and talked to the neighbors, and the gal, if I'm going up my driveway, the one on the right has an American flag and a Marine Corps flag up. I stopped in there, and she'd said that Saturday afternoon between 2 and 4, she saw a truck drive down the driveway, back out of the driveway, and then a little while later, drive back down there and back out again. And after walking around with Deputy Woodchuck and looking at it, he said that it appeared to him that whoever was in there got spooked, or, for some reason they quit early, because all they managed to grab was a couple of computers and some broken iPhones and her iPad and, my gun and just a couple of things. So it's not like they really cleaned us out. And so he said they may be back. That obviously put up red flags. That's why the next day I had ADT out there, or actually same day I had ADT out there. And so after I looked around there a little bit, it was driving me nuts, and I knew I had to do something with the door, but Des had already called the homeowner's insurance, and they had a case open. They were already working on something. And I went down to Lowe's, got an estimate, everything. And then it's just time being, to get it by. I ran a bead of caulk around the edge of the window frame, and then put up the board over it to seal it in so we couldn't get bugs and drafts and stuff for the time being.
Okay, and it was just one solid, like, half-inch piece of plywood, or is that?
Yeah, it was probably half-inch. It was that chipboard.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep, just like a particle board type.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so when you arrived there tonight, the bottom part of that board was broken away?
Right.
The detective highlights Sunford's extensive training, suggesting he would have been well equipped to enter the house and check on Desiree himself. Sunford attempts to excuse his reluctance by claiming he couldn't bear to confront the possibility of what might have happened to her. However, this justification appears weak and fails to convince the detective or alleviate suspicion.
And from where I was standing, because the porch is out here, my car would have been over here with the light pointed at it. And the porch is, a little bit of a cement pad, and then the steps. From where I was at, I couldn't see the plank. So I don't know if they broke it off and beat the glass out with it or threw it off to the side or what. But yeah, door was shut, which I thought was pretty weird. And I just didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't know if she got home and saw it and then freaked out and left, or anything,
And so you were too afraid of what you might find to go in and check and see if she was all right?
Yeah. I can deal with a lot of things, but I think that's outside of my realms.
So your thought was that she was there and there was something wrong with her and you couldn't deal with it?
Yeah.
Is that accurate? Because otherwise,
she would have called me.
Well, I'm just thinking, you're a big guy. You're what, 6'4"?
Somewhere up there.
6'4", 250. You've got a firearm on you. You've been in combat. You've done some serious shit that most people will never do. So if anyone's going to be willing to go charging in the house and make sure their wife's okay, it would seem to me that it would be you.
Well, It's not that I was afraid of anybody being in there. You know, I'll take on 100 people for her, that's fine.
Yeah.
That wasn't the concern, it was her.
You just don't want to see what may have happened to her.
Yeah.
And what did you think you might see if you went inside?
Roll around 1,000 of the worst things you could think of. The only reason I would have been forced to go in there, the only reason I could talk myself into it, was the fear that she still needed me in there. You know what I mean? Because if she was in there and she was hurt and scared or restrained, and I was sitting outside, just idly waiting while she's in there going through that alone, that would have killed me.
Okay.
So if somebody else goes in there and it's fine, everything's empty, that's great. The other thing I can't deal with.
You mentioned that you got a bunch of alarm hits on through your phone at like 3 in the morning or 3. I didn't write the times down.
Yeah, I'll bring them up for you.
The alarm is monitored.
Kind of.
And you could see where you had thought she went in and out and then back in.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it doesn't stay connected. It automatically times out after 3 hours of inactivity. So if I'm not screwing around with it every 3 hours, it shuts off. And it's set up to her email and her phone number. So if it goes off, she gets an email and a text message saying it went off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Evidently the front door is open right now. Once it finishes doing its thing here, I can show you what I'm talking about. So it still says connecting for remote.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys install any surveillance cameras or anything with the security system?
No, I asked her about it and I asked the ADT guy about it because I wanted to get one on the garage pointed up the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody came in, I could at least get the vehicle license plate, maybe a shot of them. But that was what I was worried about. And the ADT guy said that he used Tiger Direct, just, you know, go online, order some up and add them. Because the ADT ones are stupid overpriced and evidently they're not that great. So we were window shopping for some. It was in the works. It was gonna happen. Now, while we're sitting here waiting, front door. Okay, 9:24 p.m. was when it was open tonight, and it's been open since apparently. Closed, yeah, see, 3:27 a.m. Now it's just updated. Evidently they've opened and closed it again. But yeah, 3:27 a.m. yesterday. It was closed twice, so that tells me that it was the vibration sensor, not the actual opening. 3:26.
When questioned about his movements, Sunford noticeably falls silent, displaying an unusual lack of response or explanation.
So it looks like a flurry of activity around 0324.
Yeah, 3:23. And then 6:17 p.m. and 7:43. Oh, sorry, I'm upside down. 9:17, 9:23. So that's probably, you know, letting a dog out in the back end.
What kind of dog is it that you guys have?
She's a shepherd mix. She's a chipped dog. She came from the pound, so they put one of those tracking chips in her. Her name's Ada. She just went into the vet. I think Des said she was 42 pounds when they weighed her. And we adopted her from the Grant County Humane Society, so they would have her file.
Okay.
And, okay.
Is Ada pretty protective?
No, she's only barked at a couple of people. She's just a cuddly lap dog. And back door. 11:27. That would have been you guys. So 3:28 a.m. yesterday. Multiple triggers. 3:27. It was opened. 3:28 it was closed. So we're looking at right around 3:30 in the morning.
Okay.
And living room motion, see anything on it. Only trouble and alarm events are available for this sensor, so nothing.
So I understand the sequence of events. You left Yakima about 08:30 on Saturday and drove down to the Tri-Cities.
Yep.
And you were there all day at the funeral with your family.
Mm-hmm.
And then at around 11 o'clock Saturday night, you drove to Warden.
Mm-hmm.
And then you left Warden at about 8:30 in the morning on Sunday. Is that right?
Yeah, 8:30, 8:45. Okay.
Drove back to the Tri-Cities where you had breakfast with your family and hung out with them all day.
Yep.
And then headed back from the Tri-Cities to Yakima this evening. Around 8 o'clock, 8:30. About 8 o'clock is roughly. Whatever driving time to where you were back in the Yakima area making phone calls around 9 o'clock, roughly. When you started calling the sheriff's office, and you called your friend Brian to see if he could come over. You tried calling Desiree at 9:11 p.m. Okay. Is that pretty accurate account of your movements? I mean, not to the minute, of course,
Yeah.
but
Pretty damn good timeline.
so did you drive back to Yakima for anything in between that time period?
No.
Okay, so you were Yakima, Tri-Cities, Warden, Tri-Cities, back to Yakima. No trips to Yakima in the meantime. Okay, and so we can check cell phone records to confirm that and show where the tower hits, and it should give a pretty clear picture of where you were and when every time your phone registered.
Absolutely. I can't think of any time I shut it off other than that one reboot right by Fauché. I don't think I even rebooted any during the weekend.
So the phone was on most of the time.
Yeah, all the time.
What you said that Desiree's Facebook is under Chevy Des.
Yeah, her email.
Who's her email through?
Yahoo.
So it's chevydez@yahoo.com.
Yeah. I don't know if you meant to write it that way or not, but that looks like an R. CHRVY. At least it does to me.
Yeah, that's my penmanship.
Okay. As long as you know it's an E.
Yeah. Yeah. That, my E's get a little screwy sometimes, I guess.
No, I understand. My hands are pretty beat up. I can't write unless I'm looking at it.
What's your Facebook under?
Mine's under my Yahoo as well.
What's your Yahoo?
S. Sunford. No caps, spaces, nothing weird.
Where would Desiree, you said that the 380, that Ruger LCP is her carry gun.
Yes.
Where would she keep it when she was at home?
9 times out of 10, it's either on her, the headboard, like above her pillow next to the alarm clock, or in the little cubby right above that. There's a couple of little double doors that open up. Or even above that on the very tip top of the headboard next to the lamp. But it's always right there. Being that she's a teacher, she can't exactly keep it in her purse and take it to school, so.
And you said that your relationship with her is solid. You guys haven't had any problems lately?
No.
One of the officers mentioned to me that they were already getting on and looking at Facebook statuses, and there was a status update that said something similar. I haven't seen it, but it was like getting a divorce is harder than getting away with murder or something along that line.
From who?
It was on one of you two's Facebook pages.
I don't know.
Is there any reason that she would mention divorce?
No, not unless it was jokingly, because we were fine.
You guys were good?
Yeah.
There was no arguing?
No, nothing serious,
Yeah.
just stupid little stuff, you know.
Were you guys fighting about stupid little stuff during the time frame that you were gone?
No, I was gone. We couldn't have been fighting.
In between, couples can fight over the telephone, though.
No.
Sunford neglects to disclose Desiree's intention to end their relationship with Blade, a significant slip that could paint him negatively. His apparent attempt to hide this information, allowing it to emerge independently, further undermines his credibility.
Before you leave. And, I mean, it's totally understandable if you did. I mean, because married couples fight.
No.
And so it's better to just tell me now because...
No, Friday we had a little bit of a fight for like probably 15 minutes, maybe half an hour. And then a couple hours later, we sat down and we cuddled on the love seat and talked for a while. And
What was that fight about?
pretty much because of my memory.
Why? What'd you forget?
My short-term memory is horrible. You can tell me something 1 minute, a couple minutes later it's gone. And, you know, oftentimes I'll mess up and think I told her something because I was thinking to tell her something. You know what I mean? It makes it in your head but not out your mouth.
What were you supposed to tell her that you didn't?
I don't even remember. Her mom was right there.
Her mom was there?
Yeah, I just
While you
barked
guys
at her a
were-
little bit.
But then you guys made up right away?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. No other recent fights?
No.
Did Desiree have problems with anyone else? Was there anyone else that she has fought with recently or that you can think of that might want to hurt her?
Nothing. I mean, who hates an art teacher?
I don't know.
It's an elective. Everybody that's in there wants to be there.
So she hasn't had problems with anyone?
No. Neither one of us.
Other than her relationship with Paige, did she have any other sexual relationships that you know of?
No, a few years ago, actually quite a few years ago, before we were even married, she cheated on me at one point with another guy, but that's long since over with.
When you were dating, she
Yeah.
had an affair? Has she had any affairs since you've been married?
No, not that I know of. She hasn't been good.
Okay. In the week since the burglary, have you seen anyone suspicious around the area or around the house?
No, all I got from that was the gal at the end of my driveway to the right with that American flag and the Marine Corps flag told me that that Saturday between 2 and 4 there was a gray pickup, and that's it.
Okay.
Since then, we had the ADT guy come out, and we had the mother-in-law come out, and I don't think I've even had any of my friends come out there. We haven't been there long, so it's not like there's that many people that know where we live.
Okay. Was there any life insurance on Desiree?
I don't think so. I had a lot of life insurance on me and some on her, but when I lost my job, it went away.
Who was it through before?
SGLI and SSLI. I set it all up so that if anything happened to me on any of the deployments, she'd be good.
SGLI, and what was the second one?
SSLI. It's Service Member Group Life Insurance and State-Sponsored Life Insurance. They're both military only, so they've obviously went away as soon as the whole enlistment status changed.
Okay, so as far as you know, there aren't any policies in effect right now?
No, I don't think so. Because when she signed her teaching contract, I had such good coverage on us that I don't think she would have opted for any.
Okay. Is there anything else that you can think of that I should know about?
Can't think of anything. We already gave the deputies the serial number for the iPad so they could try to track that. She did tell me that she had it locked, so they couldn't boot it up, log in, get on a Wi-Fi network, and get hit that way.
Did she have another computer at home still that she could be on?
Yeah,
on?
I gave her one of my old laptops for her classroom, and she brought that in from the classroom.
Okay.
And that was sitting on the desk in front of the computer's monitor from where the desktop was. And that one was a little, it was a Dell Inspiron 1505. That was her little work computer. And she brought that in so that we could do the emails and everything to deal with the robbery.
In this case, insurance does not appear to be a motivating factor. However, investigators must thoroughly search all electronics owned by Sunford and his wife. While Sunford may have avoided storing anything incriminating on his devices, those belonging to Desiree could potentially provide clues indicating issues within their relationship.
You mentioned that you shut your phone off to reboot it. Is it very common for you to have to turn your phone off?
Every few days or so it starts kind of jamming up. It does this thing where you hit the home button and it'll work, and then other times you hit the home button and it won't work and you gotta sit there and pound it for 10 minutes and it just jams up. And just do a quick restart and it generally starts behaving better.
Okay. I missed a phone call here just a second ago, so I need to double check what they were calling about. So
Or I could
think
use
this-
a little break to the facility myself. My
Okay.
bladder's getting pretty...
This would be a good time to take a break then.
Okay.
The time right now is 01:21 hours, and I'm Detective Sam Pearl.
So I assume we're coming back in this room?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I saw you gathering up all your stuff. I wonder if I'm just do the same.
Oh, no, yeah,
Okay.
you're fine. You can leave it sitting right there.
Scott Sunford emerged as a prime suspect early on, but it wasn't until the police received a tip about Paige Blade's pregnancy that a clear motive began to surface. Despite closely monitoring the pair, the investigation stalled for nearly a year. An anonymous tip, later revealed to be Blade herself, provided the breakthrough they had been waiting for. She implicated a name previously unheard of in connection with the case: Marty Grismer. Marty and Paige shared a close friendship, and a week before the crucial call, Marty confessed to murdering Desiree. During an argument between Scott and Paige about Scott's new romantic interest, Marty implies his willingness to eliminate the new woman, mirroring his actions with Desiree. With Blade's help, they attempted to trap Marty in a sting operation, but his nervousness prevented him from making any incriminating statements. A few weeks later, Marty's workplace contacted the police after discovering a plastic bag containing gun parts with bullet casings matching those found at the crime scene. A subsequent search of Marty's office uncovered items belonging to Desiree. With a warrant, the police searched Marty's home and discovered a pair of shoes that perfectly matched the prints left behind at the crime scene. Marty Grismer was charged with first-degree murder, with police believing he killed Desiree on Blade's behalf due to his love for her. Grismer was tried and sentenced to 15 years in jail. Despite suspicions of Scott and Paige's involvement, the police lacked evidence, and Marty alone was convicted. He entered a plea agreement, neither confessing nor denying guilt, but acknowledging that the evidence was against him. Remember, it's your curiosity that fuels this channel. Keep exploring, stay inspired, and join us for more amazing content next time.